Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
The #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with contentatscale.ai.
Hi. Before I start, I'd like to introduce someone. This is Salome Milan. She's 41. She's a wife, a mother of 3, 2 girls and a boy. She's a PhD student living in Leeds in the UK. Salome has sickle cell trait. That's a disorder that affects her red blood cells. It makes them hard to move around her body, and her blood effectively becomes sticky. And that can lead to pain, complications like stroke, organ failure. Sickle cell is an inherited condition, and Salome inherited it from both her parents. Sickle cell killed her mother at 24, and so Salome was brought up by her grandmother, Bernadette. Today, Salome lives with sickle cell. Although many options have been tried, the best treatment for her is total blood exchange. In hospital, Salome is connected to a machine which separates her blood, removes any of the affected cells, and replaces them with healthy cells, donated by people like Jojo on the left here. She needs this every 4 weeks, and it takes 6 to 8 units of blood, which has to be incredibly closely matched, bespoke to her. So that means that 8 people take an hour out of their day every couple of months, and those people do it just to treat someone like Salome. That's one treatment. That blood is then processed and made safe by the organisation that I work for, NHS Blood and Transplant. Blood exchange reduces the complications of sickle cell, and it keeps Salome alive. But she still lives with the symptoms every day: pain, tiredness, and a general uncertainty about her future health. Now, hearing Salome talk about her condition, the treatment, is incredibly moving. She says in her own words, "Without blood donors, I wouldn't be here. My children wouldn't have me. I live for them. Thanks to you, to donors, to your organisation, I get to hear them call me mummy. That's something that I didn't have growing up." Now, imagine if, as people working in SEO, you had the power to help Salome and people like her. Now, when I think about Salome, when I hear her story, and there are many like hers, what's really brought home to me is that search saves lives. It does it every day. It's doing it right now. My name's Sarah Key. I'm lead content designer at NHS Blood and Transplant. I lead a team of 6 content professionals, and we work across 17 life-saving, life-changing, health-affirming websites. SEO is a small part of what we do, but it's incredibly vital. In the last year, blood.co.uk, which is where you can register to become a blood donor, book an appointment, you can find out about how donation makes a difference. That site received 1.6 million visitors from search. And in that same time period, we had 60,000 appointments to donate blood directly from search. That's around a 14.5% conversion rate. And those are only the appointments that we can confidently attribute to search. We have cookie issues, as I'm sure many of you also face, and so the likelihood is that search is involved in many more journeys, many more appointments, many more decisions made than just these. But blood is only just part of the picture. We also write organ donation content. So organdonation.nhs.uk, you can go and find out what's involved in becoming an organ donor, how you can help and who you can help, and also the choices that need to be made. Now, in the same time period, the site had 250,000 visits from search. For both sites, that's around 32% of our traffic. And in the case of organ donation.nhs.uk, around 10% of those people signing up to become an organ donor in future have done so from search. Now, those numbers are nowhere near as impressive as our blood stats. I know the numbers don't really compare. But when you consider that only 1% of people die in circumstances where organ donation is even possible, and that there are 50,000 people walking around today because of organ donation, they may have received a transplant of some kind, and that there are 7,000 people waiting for that same treatment, it's really clear that every single registration, every visit, everything that SERP can offer is incredibly important to us. But if we look at the bigger picture, the Telegraph newspaper in 2017 reported that 7% of all searches on Google are health-related. That's around 70,000 every minute. That's nearly filling Wembley Stadium every 60 seconds. And I would hazard a guess that that figure has only increased since then with COVID-19 and the difficulties accessing healthcare. And when we look at nhs.uk, which is the site that's kind of the first for UK-based health and medical information, they received 1.2 billion users in 1 year period. That's 2.3 million a week and roughly 2,500 every minute, which is roughly half the number of people that are probably in Auditorium 1, or roughly 5 times the capacity of this room. And data from Torchbox, who do SEO for nhs.uk, say that 88% of those visitors will have come from search. So it's clear that there's a lot of healthcare journeys that are involved in nhs.uk visits. But you may be sitting here as an industry professional thinking, this is all very nice, very twee, but SEO is all about money. That's what the resources tell us. There are countless articles that can tell you how to increase your sales through SEO, podcasts, articles, the list goes on. And there are, of course, probably plenty of brilliant talks across the event today and tomorrow. Now, you may be tasked with increasing ROI, selling more product, bringing in more of those all-important pounds, dollars, and euros. But what happens when your main measure is people and not profit? What happens if there's more to SEO than just money? There we go. So how do not-for-profits navigate this market? How do we prioritize? Now, me and my in-house team, we have, you'll probably be unsurprised to hear, a very minimal budget, but we have to make maximum impact. We need to help as many people as possible. I'll dig into that, but first, let's talk about why the NHS needs SEO. Now, it will come as no surprise to you, everyone here knows, SEO helps the public. And in the case of healthcare information, it can give you that vital information when you need it. Now, heaven forbid, but if anyone here had chest pain, SEO can help you to determine whether that might be a heart attack, worst case scenario, or heartburn. And these are lovely examples, all found through search. Either way, SEO is going to help the right person get the right treatment at the right time. One needs an ambulance, one needs an antacid. SEO can really help to prevent unnecessary hospital trips. And it's no secret that the NHS is incredibly stretched right now, probably more so than ever. Waiting times, whether it's to see a GP, be seen in A&E, receive a planned operation, are all at record levels. So help in the home can seriously affect and improve frontline demand. And for context, in July of this year, which is the most recent figures for this data, the averages show that we're receiving 17 calls for an emergency ambulance every single minute. So SEO really does have the power to make a big difference here. One of the other things that it can do is to maintain our authority. Now, there's the well-worn-out joke that Dr. Google will happily diagnose cancer with any banal symptom that you search for. Now, SEO for healthcare is changing this, and NHS.uk with their SEO work already have. Now, at this point, you might think that the NHS has authority. We are right there in the typical your money or your life category, the most supposedly important content that Google will measure. We've got the Google seal of approval as pictured here. All we have to do is work on some factual, pretty good content, hit publish, and then sit back, relax, like Cyril here, who's just donated blood. We know we've done a good job. Ta-da, we're at the top of SERP. No. We have to work for our rankings, just like everybody else. Our authority figures across our websites, which Google will rate out of 100, are in the 60s, which, when I've discussed this with agency professionals, they're surprised how low it is. Which takes me back to, how do we prioritize with this picture in mind? Well, generally, when I'm deciding what SEO work we should be working on, I consider three things. The first is whether it will increase blood supply. Now, if we don't have enough blood in the NHS system, it causes a huge disruption, and it's effectively a national emergency, and that has happened in the last 12 months. Blood stocks fell to a worryingly low level, and we had to write to hospitals around the country and explain that we desperately needed more blood donors, because otherwise we would need to start limiting what we could send out. It's a huge problem, and it has a knock-on effect on emergency scenarios, but also on planned treatment like Salome's. The next thing we consider is whether it will have a positive impact on marginalised communities. We need more black blood donors to help people like Salome with sickle cell trait, and there are around 15,000 people with sickle cell in the UK right now. That figure only grows every year. There's around 300 babies born every year with sickle cell. And so the demand for blood to treat the condition has risen by 52% in the last 5 years. It's incredibly important to, as I've already mentioned, cross-match it very closely, and ethnicity is considered when we do that. So if we can do something to improve the blood donation experience for black donors, and we can do that through SEO, then we absolutely will. Finally, we are tasked with combating misinformation, and SEO is a fantastic way of doing that. In this example, if you roll back to December 2020 and you Googled, "Can I donate blood if I have a tattoo?" you would have been presented with this. We're second, right down at the bottom, to Healthline, an American company that has a reported revenue of $90 million a year. Now, the reality is that if you've had a recent tattoo, you will probably need to wait to donate. That's both for your safety and for whoever might receive blood products from you. Now, the issue with this is that the health line in the content here may not be accurate, and that could have a knock-on impact on blood supply. There might be scenarios where people will turn up thinking that they're able to donate when they can't, and that means that potentially they're booked into an appointment that could be available to somebody who can donate, or vice versa. Either way, it means that potentially there's issues with blood supply there. Now, we're the experts in this field, but we're outranked. So, if we priority check this, we absolutely will be combating misinformation, and I've already said it definitely will have an impact on blood donation. I'm not confident as to whether this will affect marginalised communities or not, but I don't think it will have a negative impact. So, what did we do? Well, there was a bespoke piece of content created in-house, and when we do this type of work, especially now, we would consider keyword analysis, we'd look at various audience considerations, we'd make sure that we were using the correct terminology and language. So what now? Fast forward to today, and if you search the same string, you would find this. We're ranked 1 and 2. We've pushed Healthline to 3. We have a nice juicy snippet with highlighted text and a relevant image. It takes concerted effort to do this, but it's worthwhile because it helps donors, and ultimately it helps people who need blood. But it's not always, that's not a super straightforward example. It took work, but sometimes it's even more complicated than that. So I live in the southwest of England, and if I give plasma in my area, Google very helpfully shows me this, and it's pushing me towards the Bristol Blood Donor Centre. Now, you might think, great, nice and easy, there's directions right there, I can call, perfect. The problem is you can't donate plasma at the Bristol Blood Donor Centre. It's a bespoke product. We need special machinery, special training to be able to take just that from your blood. And so there are only specialist centres that can do that. Also, specific people can donate if you're considering. Now, plasma is important. It's a blood product that is used to help people with a variety of conditions, from immune disorders to blood problems. And it's early days for plasma donation in the UK. So it's vital that we present accurate information. In this scenario, we did a bit of research, tried to make a difference. Ultimately, this actually fixed itself, but it's a really tricky one because although this has fixed itself, we have the same issue happening in other parts of the UK. We don't have an answer for it. So if you face something similar and you want to have a vent about it, or if you know how to fix this, please, please, please come and find me today or tomorrow because I desperately need to talk about it. I did try and speak to John in the green room and he just went, oh. So yeah, if you have any tips, please do let me know. So that's how we do things in-house. I should mention that we do have a paid agency. We have a very minimal budget with them and they support us. It's incredibly helpful, but we're not talking big budgets. I do truly believe that we're punching above our weight. We have a talented and dedicated team. I value them so, so much. They're amazing. It takes hard work, and I know that, but it's incredibly worth it. I mean, look at those faces. Lauren, on the left, needed medicine made from plasma to keep her alive during pregnancy. And Edie, her baby, needed the same treatment when she was born. Neither of them would be here today if it wasn't for the generosity of blood donors and the life-saving work that my organisation does. The fact is that probably SERP was involved in people getting to the point of donation and may even have been involved in Edie's treatment. So I'll say it again, just in case it needs to be said. SERP saves lives. And I'll leave you with this. Everyone hearing my words today has power. It's easy in this mixed up world to feel like you don't. But if this weird niche corner of the internet can make a difference, just think what you can do. There's so many options. Where will you place your power? Now, obviously, I would suggest consider blood donation if you're not doing so already. Maybe have a look at the organ donor register. But there's so many options. You can be an activist. You can genuinely affect change through your work. Maybe you might consider doing pro bono work or encouraging your organisation, if you're in an agency, to work with more not-for-profits. There's so many options available to you. And SEO really does have power. You can be a superhero through it. I'd love to know if you decide to make any changes. If you decide to give blood, please let me know. I did hope to have a bit.ly link so that I could track if anybody goes and signs the organ donor register or books an appointment, and I just didn't have time. So please do get in touch, either through social media or come and talk to me if you've got any questions. I do have a little bit of merch with me if you're a blood donor or if you're on the organ donor register that I can share. I'd love to hear what you decide to do following hearing my talk. But I'll leave you with that. Enjoy the rest of your Brighton SEO. Thank you for listening.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.